Morning, everybody. Cowboy here, 8:30 a.m. EST. We just had some data come out and hit the market. We got core retail sales come out dollar strong. So what does that mean? That means that there are some economic indicators saying that the U.S. economy is technically doing well. It means that the dollar is going to be strong. That means that interest rate cuts might be pushed back further, but this is on a micro scale, right? There are other types of data that mean more, but just the same, when that kind of data comes out, even though it might not be as strong of as other data, the market is still going to move in that direction, which is why we might see a couple of tickers flicker. Okay, so talking about tickers flickering, let's go ahead and roll right into the charts, into the data. If you want to know more about Algo Factory, just click the QR code in the top right-hand corner. We help people become traders. We help people build their own trading method. And you don't have to know how to do computer coding or any of that. Algorithms are just simply a trading method, but we can help you build a trading bot as well. If that's what you're interested in, we can help you be on the path to that. So come on to algofactory.tech. Here's the data. You can see it here, in particular for the USD. You got the retail sales month over month, which is actually better than expected by a fair amount. It was expected to be down to 0.3%, and it actually was not down any percent. It was a 0% move. And then the retail sales month over month, core retail sales, which excludes a few things, was also off by about the same amount. It was up 0.4% instead of up 0.1%. So both exceeded expectations. We also had the Canadian dollar news, and their CPA came out a little bit cool. So that's going to be Canada week, right? Because they're doing the same thing. Everybody around the world's doing the same thing. They're cutting, or they are hiking their interest rates. They have been for the last few years, and they've been trying to tamper down inflation by doing that, tamp down inflation by hiking their rates. And the more expensive money is when you hike rates, the less money there is to go around into markets, and markets suffer. And so the whole idea is to have markets suffer a bit and to go ahead and keep inflation from getting too out of hand. Now, one of their CPI numbers called the trimmed CPI did come out just a hair above expected, but the other two came in pretty cool. But most of their numbers came in as expected. So I'm sure that the Canada dollar chart is going to show some interesting movement here. We'll take a brief look at that before we jump into Bitcoin. But here it is right there. It looks like USD CAD. So the Canadian dollar being technically weak based on some of this news, it is pushing up. Now, this is a daily chart, so I did have some predictions here. You can see how the upward prediction looked like what was the most likely one. I made this probably a few days ago. I was talking about the currencies, and there are just a few different ranges in which the Canadian dollar was playing, and it's pushing up right now, according to one of the predictions. So it's staying in this upper range right there. And if I were to go down to a lower time frame, we probably would see the kind of action that this news is causing, which is actually a little pronounced. So this big candle upwards, you can see that, right? This is the USD CAD. So this is the Canadian dollar getting weak compared to the US dollar. That's what that big move up right there is in the 5-minute chart. Let's go ahead and jump into Bitcoin. I know that's probably what most people want to see. And we did have a wick down to the liquidity that I talked about yesterday. Let's see here. Yep. So this is in the 5-minute chart. So this happened at about 4:30 a.m. EST. Price came down to grab liquidity on the way up, and it does appear to continue to be bullish, at least in the short term. So we do have some more bullishness, but price did dip down to grab liquidity. First, it went up to grab this liquidity that I marked out yesterday at about 65,000, and then it came back down to grab some around 63,000. That's just how it did. That's what it does. It grabs liquidity, right? And as long as the charts are favoring a move in that direction, these liquidity nodes are probably where price is going to go. So let's go ahead and take a new look at liquidity, since some of that liquidity was effectively wiped off. By the way, if you have comments or questions, please ask. If you have a chart you want to see, go ahead and go into YouTube and say, hey, I want to see this chart. Algo Factory members will have priority during these first 10 minutes. But if you're not an Algo Factory member, you can still ask. Now, at this point, as the show gets bigger, might have to limit it to super chats or something like that. But here is the liquidity chart, and we're going to see a lot of liquidity from 58,000 to about 59,400. So we'll go ahead and draw ourselves a box. 58 to 59.4. And that's where the liquidity is sitting right now, more or less. Now, in order for price to get down that far, there would have to be a pretty substantial rejection. And right now, we're going to take a quick look at the algos to see if that's realistic. I mean, it's possible because anything is possible. There is a little bit of liquidity up around 69,600, right? So there is a little, like a sliver up there. So we'll go ahead and we'll change that here. We'll move yesterday's liquidity line up there. So if price favors a move up, it'll probably head up to this point right here eventually. It would have to be a pretty strong move up to get there anytime soon. And there's a good chance that this will change prior to that happening because that's pretty far away and it's not a lot of liquidity. Now, if price does favor a move down, this area down here, this 58,000 up to 59,000-ish, like 59.3, that's actually a pretty decent size liquidity pool. Liquidity node, I should say, or these are basically what these are, liquidations. So if you're looking at Binance in particular, in this case, a lot of people are long. They're betting on the price going up, and their stop losses are all in this area, or they're actually where their liquidations really are, where their trades would liquidate if price were to go down. And price is attracted to these. However, for that to happen, the charts do have to favor a move down. And right now, as price action goes, it does not look like price favors that at all. I think it's going to be some time before we see that. As a matter of fact, price did try to head down just a little bit, as we talked about a moment ago, and it grabbed that liquidity that was just below price. That's why we see this one candle here where price kind of came down, and now it's being pushed back up. So right now there's still a fair amount of bullishness left. And as it stands, price has made its way back into this multi-month consolidation that is between basically 60,000, 61,000, and 72,000. And for now, it does look like it's going to stay in that area. Price dipped down, grabbed the liquidity we talked about. And by the way, there was a consolidation here at the bottom of that range that also functioned as liquidity. And it just grabbed that. And it looks like it's going to continue up. So I wouldn't bet on this on price moving down below 61,000. While it could happen, well, while it's really possible to happen, right now price is bullish. And what may happen, depending on how bullish price is and what happens in the market, price may either start to head up, or it might go sideways a bit up, grab some liquidity, and then head up again. These are the two more likely scenarios I'm seeing right now. But again, as we get more data, as things print, as candles print, and as we get more data, that can easily change. This is just what I see right now. So that's Bitcoin in a nutshell. Let's go ahead and move on to Ethereum. I know there's a lot of eyes on Ethereum right now. I mentioned it in yesterday's video that the Ethereum ETF, I believe, launches on the 27th, and a lot of people feel that that might bring more money into the market. It might be that whatever money is coming into the market has already done so. A lot of the big players may have already bought the Ethereum. So it's hard to say whether or not this event on the 27th will even push price up at all. It kind of seems to me like a good probability it's going to be a sell the news event. And what I mean by that is people should consider that everybody's buying now. And then when that happens, it's going to provide what's called exit liquidity, where a lot of people think the price is going to go up. And so they're going to buy heavily at that time. And then the big players are going to want to take profit. And the people who are buying at that time are going to provide them the ability to exit. Right? It's called exit liquidity, because if you want to sell anything, there has to be a buyer. And these large players, they can't just sell. They can't just hit the sell button because they'll push price down. When you have so much of an asset, then you're going to create basically a supply shock, the opposite of a supply shock. You'll create a, I guess you call it a demand shock. What you're going to do though is when you have, let's just say you're in the real estate market and you own half the houses in town. Well, if you sell all those houses at the same time, there's going to be no one to buy them. And the only way you're going to be able to sell it is by selling them at lower prices to get other buyers into the market. And if that happens with Ethereum and everybody thinks, that, the price is going to go up because of the ETF, and that's going to bring those buyers in so that the smart money can sell into it. And I think that's all going to depend on where price is at that time. And if Bitcoin continues to remain bullish, then there's a good chance we're going to see Ethereum slide up into this 4,000 area over that period of time, because that's actually a pretty decent trajectory. I would look at this more or less as a range. It's not a clean range, but it works. And yeah, I would expect Ethereum maybe to make its way up to around, say, 4,000 or even 3,600, but I think it might even get up a little bit higher. Whatever area it's at on the 27th, though, that's when we might see what I'm talking about. And that's going to happen right, if I have my dates correct, that's going to happen right where that line is. So just looking at the trajectory, how things are moving, that would probably indicate just a slide up during that period of time to this area. Pretty simple. And that actually is about 36.50. Again, that's a pretty loose interpretation of what price could do. I don't know that I would be planning on trading that, but there are ways to trade that on a lower time frame. I mean, you can, but you're getting pretty extended with Ethereum. Ethereum and Bitcoin have moved up a fair amount and fairly quickly. And while there has been a pull down to grab liquidity, I'm not sure that the liquidity grabs are done. Might be a little bit more of that going on. So like I said, time will tell. I do hope this video was helpful. Please come on over to algofactory.tech. Like I said, we teach people how to build their own trading algorithms, right? And a lot of people are just trading them manually, just old school. You just have a trading method and you trade it manually the old way. Some people are actually coding their own indicators, and that gives them the ability, should they want to go ahead and have a trading bot trade for them while they're not at the computer. Okay, and that's actually a pretty cool thing. They do take some time to tune and figure out. It's not magic, but once you get it tuned out, I know people who are actually pulling in a pretty decent amount of money, letting the computer trade for them, overnight while they sleep, even during the daytime while they're doing other stuff. It's kind of the dream. So if you want to learn what that's all about, come on over, algofactory.tech, trade your job, upgrade your life, and do not forget,
join us or die.